Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers, and I have with me in the studio journalist Dari Odufowokan. Hopefully, if he will join us much later. Compliments of the season. Good morning.
Same to you. Good morning.
Right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with this Nigeria newspaper. COVID-19. Federal government destroys 1.6 million doses of expired AstraZeneca vaccines. Federal government destroys 1.6 million doses of expired AstraZeneca vaccines. You find the details on the pages of this Nigeria newspaper. All right, to the Guardian newspaper now. COVID-19, Nigeria records the highest single-day infection. 4 deaths, 2,123 new cases as Yuletide festivities heighten. NAFDAC, NPHCDA, that's the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, destroy over 1 million expired vaccines. Delta State reports 395 cases of Omicron variant. Vaccine inequality booster programs will prolong pandemic. You find all of the details on the pages of the Guardian newspaper. To the First News newspaper now. Bandits kidnap 70 Kanu-bound traders in Kaduna. Bandits kidnap 70 Kanu-bound traders in Kaduna. Details on the pages of the First News newspaper. To Nigerian News Direct. Electoral Amendment Bill. Senate delays plan to override Buhari to consult House of Reps. Insecurity not enough to stop mass participation in election. Falana speaking. And on the front page of the Daily Trust, Electoral Bill, how governors scuttled senators' moves to override Buhari. How governors scuttled senators' move to override Buhari. You find all of the details on the pages of the Daily Trust. To this day newspaper now, Electoral Act Amendment, Senate cowers, suspends move to override Buhari's veto. Senate cowers, suspends move to override Buhari's veto to engage House constituents on next plan. Our president's withholding of assent a decoy, says PDP caucus. Saraki identifies options before legislature. And to the Punch newspaper now. Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Senate backs down on overriding Buhari. Refers bill to constituents. We will consult our constituents during recess. They have a role to play, says Lawan. Buhari rejected bill in order to rig 2023 poll. APC plans to manipulate results. The PDP reacting there. All of the details on the pages of the Punch newspaper. To the Nigerian Tribune, Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Senate steps down action to override Buhari to consult with reps. CSOs berate Gbajabiamila, call for his resignation. Saraki calls for action, tasks National Assembly to override president or remove direct primary clause. And APC scuttled bill for fear of 2023. All of the details on the pages of the Nigerian Tribune. To the Vanguard newspaper now, Electoral Act Amendment. Senators Huff-Puff failed to override Buhari's veto, say they'll act on Buhari's letter in January to consult reps, constituents on next line of action. PDP reps caucus ask Buhari to resign, says Nigeria seized by hostage takers, bandits, terrorists. APC scuttled Electoral Act Amendment for fear of 2023. PDP speaking. We'll have a new bill in 1 month. Saraki also reacting. You find all of those details on the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. To the Nation newspaper now. Electoral Act, why senators dropped plot against Buhari. Buni 5 governors pulled last-minute strings. Senate to consult reps on next action. On the front page of the Blueprint, internal wrangling won't affect APC's chances in 2023. Magodo speaking. CCEPC should announce date for party convention. PGF boss.
Audio check. Hello?
All right, to the Leadership newspaper, State of the Nation, convene reconciliation confab now. OBJ Sultan tell President Muhammadu Buhari. And on the front page of the Business Day, 2021 in review, Nigeria's 10 most profitable companies in 2021. On the front page of the national economy, despite 1.7 trillion naira bailout, loans infrastructure deficit, dog states. Loans infrastructure deficits, dog states. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Sun, Obasanjo, Sultan, ethnic leaders, others list ways to save Nigeria, recommend constitution review, national dialogue. All right, we have, before we get to the papers, we'll quickly go to a developing story that we have been following since yesterday, talking about Magodo, where the Magodo estate, where some action were taking yesterday. Initially, there were plans by some persons to demolish some houses, about 500 of them, but there seemed to have been an intervention yesterday. We have been following that story, and our correspondent Theophilus Elama is there to bring us up to speed with what is happening at the moment. Theophilus, quickly talk to us. What more do we know at this time?
Well, like you said, Veronica, you're spot on when you said that there was some situation here yesterday where protests erupted in this place as a result of the fact that a court order was to be executed. Now some buildings just down the road here and also at this side have been marked for demolition. Of course, obeying the Supreme Court order for over 500 plots of land to be given back to the original owners. But as we speak at this time, this whole place is cleared. Everything is all right as it says, because as at yesterday, people couldn't go in and out of Magodo via Shangisha axis. They couldn't go in and out. But right now, you can see vehicular movement, vehicles coming in and out. Our vehicles it's actually parked inside. That's to show you the fact that everything is okay. But the Lagos State government has promised to intervene and would do something about the situation. But as it is at this point, everything is all right. Vehicular movement in and out of Magodo is quite okay as we speak, as you can see behind me as well.
Were you able to speak with anyone, Theophilus, on perhaps what the Lagos State government said with regards to trying to bring some form of intervention to the matter?
Well, Veronica, as it says right now, the only people around here are security operatives. The Landlord Association are pledged to come and meet us to talk to us anytime soon. That was before we went on air that we spoke with them on time. Some of them are not actually in the house, while some are home, and so they have said, okay, they will come and speak to us as regard the plans by the Lagos State government on the situation on ground.
But our security, because you spoke about the security personnel in terms of policemen that were stationed at the estate earlier yesterday, are they still there?
Looking everywhere, if my cameraman can panel around, there are no policemen around here at all. Just normal estate security men keeping the peace and ensuring that vehicular movement and movement in and out of the estate goes on quite well. But as it says right now, there are no police vehicles on ground at this point, no policemen here. It shows that the situation has been sorted out, has been curtailed, and and peace has come to the estate at this point. But as it is right now, like you saw, there are no security men, no policemen here, no any form of any bulldozer around here, except the security personnel from the estate.
All right. We'll definitely get back to you for more updates from the Magodo estate. Thank you, Theophilus. All right, let's come back for a newspaper review. And like we told you earlier, we have our guest, Odufowokan, joining us to talk about this. Now, let's quickly look at this story. Senators, with regards to the Electoral Act amendment, senators, according to one of the papers, Vanguard precisely, says senators puff failed to override Buhari's veto. And I'm wondering if you saw this coming, because they are now saying that they now have to consult their constituents, they now have to consult with the members of the House of Reps. One excuse or the other.
These are no excuses. These are realities. These are facts of the matter. Last week, we were discussing this issue while it was still a rumor. And the president declined. No, he didn't. He sent it back. No, we haven't gotten it and all that. I said it will be difficult for this Senate to immediately override the president. To be very
but
difficult.
they were seemingly making an attempt gathering signatures.
The Senate did not issue a statement saying we are going to override. We read body languages, we read movements.
One of them actually spoke to our correspondent and said they are gathering signatures and they had gotten over 70.
The person who spoke to your correspondent is not a principal officer of the Senate.
Right.
He is not authorized to issue releases of statements on behalf of the Senate. The Senate has its own leadership. That leadership didn't say a word. And it is simply because the leadership of the Senate and the presidency belongs to the same party.
Right.
It is, you see, in everything, politics will play a big role. Yes, constitutionally, the Senate or the National Assembly can override Mr. President. But do you think this will be done without recourse to the leadership of their party? I say no. So when that happens, there will be discussions behind the scene. While we are still expecting action, there were discussions going on. And the outcome of those discussions is what we saw yesterday. The Senate made a lot of noise. There were a lot of threats. Expectations were high. But at the end of the day, nothing happened. Nothing happened because some strings were pulled. Nothing happened because some interests, not necessarily our interests, were considered. Nothing happened because politics
came to play.
And are we going to say these developments are all bad? I'll say no.
Really?
Yes. I am for a situation where they will talk this over and sign the electoral bill into law. What, for now, I read through reasons why the president declined.
Yes.
And I was talking about, largely, about direct primary. Largely about direct primary. If that's the issue, and let's do away with it, go back to the earlier situation where it is either direct primary.
The party decides.
Direct primary or consensus. Let the party decide. Ordinarily, sincerely, I am not too comfortable with the decision to include direct primary as a compulsory mode of primary election. I think it takes away the freedom of the political parties. I think it takes away the freedom of the political parties. The parties should be free
to decide
how they want to nominate. That's the word. Nominate their candidates. The courts are there to ensure that justice is served if they fail to do it according to the books. I think we've seen a lot of that, people being nominated wrongly, and the courts throwing it out.
Of course.
And saying, no, this is the process.
Yes.
I think we should test our books more on the ones, and
perhaps the National Assembly feels we have tested our books enough and we should begin to move forward. They want, according to them, I recall Gbajabiamila saying that to make sure there is some sort of inclusiveness, a lot of persons to help our democracy. You know, those were the reasons.
I know that even in indirect primaries,
yes,
delegates are elected. They are not handpicked. They are elected by party members. So, directly or indirectly, the people are still participating.
But not as much when it comes to...
We are seeking more participation.
Yes.
But have you examined the reasons given for not
by the president?
Well, I don't agree with everything he said. Talking about direct primary being more expensive, I disagree. I totally disagree.
That's the responsibility of the party.
That's the responsibility of the party. And each party will spend according to what it can afford.
Right.
The APC had direct primary to elect Mr. President as its candidate.
Absolutely.
Twice now. So what was the cost? The truth of the matter is, it is interests that were at play and are still at play. Senators, National Assembly members versus governors over who should be the candidates of our parties.
And where does that leave the people who are clamoring for
so
this?
So either here or there is not about the people. That's the truth. Either this argument or that argument is not about the people. It's about interest. Senators feeling we cannot continue to allow governors to determine our fate. This is our opportunity. Let's amend this thing once and for all. If it is direct primary, we go and face the people. The governor cannot stop me. But if it's indirect primary, the governor's aides alone as delegates are enough to determine who wins. That is the issue. It's not about actually.
So this conversation they intend to have with their constituents, you think it is not with the constituents? They
will have conversation with their constituents who elected them to represent them. Part of those constituents are the governors, the commissioners, the local government chairmen, the councillors, supervising councillors, the special advisors to the governor, the special advisors to the chairman of the local government. All these are part of the constituents, and they are under the control of the governors, and they will also be at all the stakeholders.
But my last guest was saying that opinion leaders, not these people being mentioned, are the ones they should have this conversation with.
Are you now telling me these people I mentioned are not constituents?
No, they are.
That's what I'm telling you, that by the time they go back home and they call stakeholders meeting to discuss, these people too will be there. And their voices will be louder
than anyone else.
Than anyone else. And tell me, it is a battle of interests. The governors are waiting back home. Yeah, you want to come and have discussion? Make sure their people are there at all the discussions, loud and clear, drumming the interest of the governors. And then the lawmakers will not be able to say, these are not my constituents. They are your constituents. They are party members. They are members of the public. So it is about interest. Will the common man find a voice in all these arguments? The answer is no.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, no. The common man will not find his own voice. Because we have elected people. Those we elected have appointed people who have forms louder constituents than those of us.
But isn't this having its impact and implication on our democracy?
It is having it, no doubt. That it's having impact is a fact. Now let's toss the coin. If we have direct primary, indirect primary years, the governors will prefer. Delegates will be bribed. Those are non-elective delegates. The delegates coming from the party and the public will be bribed by the governors. This is the person I want. His aides and other appointees and elected officials will be told without being bribed, go and toe this line. It's simpler for Mr. Governor to get that done. For Mr. Senator who is seeking re-election, it's a no-win situation for him. He cannot bribe the governor's aides who are automatic delegates. He does not have the kind of cash the governor will have to bribe the general delegates, so he loses out on one part. On the other side, if it is general direct primary, the governor, Mr. Governor, will have to spend more money of our money. That's the truth. That is why I'm a bit careful about supporting either of these sides.
Why would he spend more money?
He needs to bribe more people. All the delegates from all the wards. He will send people to each wards of the state to ensure that the people votes his preferred candidates. So he needs our money, more of it, more of our money, packed in vans and Hilux vehicles to each of the places where direct primary will take place, to bribe 1,000 to 2,500 party members in their thousands and hundreds, and possibly millions, to vote for his preferred candidate. In the long run, it is still our money. And then Mr. Senator too, knowing fully well that yes, I stand a chance of winning if I can get more people to support me, we also have to bribe. Neither of the two camps are hoping to win in a free, fair, and credible process. Whichever of the process we choose, they will reinvent the wheel to ensure the bribery and corruption continues. You will now talk about the people. That is where my own concern is.
Right.
If direct primary sails through, are you assuring me that our people are wise enough to know that you don't have to take money from anybody to choose your candidate? The answer is still no. We still have a lot of orientation to do for us to get the advantage of what we are fighting for. That's when it can work. Otherwise, it will just be business as usual, even worse than before. Because the people now say, oh, we have 2 steps to get money from these people during primary and during the general election. Nothing will change. On the contrary, more of our wealth will be stolen to finance this Among Us exercise that we are clamoring for now.
Well, what most Nigerians want is an improved process.
We must look at the process properly. It is not about whether it is direct
or indirect.
Delegates are elected. Let's start from how we elect these delegates if it is indirect. The delegates who get elected still get there through some form of conspired processes.
Right.
Let's elect people we know will go and do what we want him or her to do. That's when we'll get a better process. It is not about
an improved democracy at the end of the day.
If what we really want is improved democracy, then we need to talk to ourselves.
Right.
We leave the senators and the governors out of our discussion. Discuss whichever process, whichever mode they choose, be it direct or indirect. We should make up our mind that we will stop selling our future every 4 years, and things will get better.
All right. Dario Odufowokan, journalist. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.